a warm and busy record of the thickets pecked by the pink-billed bird in the thicket laden with red berries. A cute pink pointed-billed bird was flying. Its name was Juju. The feathers of the cuckoo are like the petals of a pink rose, soft and fluffy. Its pointed beak is as if it has been coated with rouge, thin and dexterous. When its wings flap, they look like two pieces of pink clouds. When it sings dearly, dearly, it is even more pleasant than wind chimes. Aunt Cuckoo always says the cuckoo is a little expert in thickets. It has a sharp beak and dexterous hands, and its heart is sweeter than berries. That early morning, little hedgehog Kuki got her claws entangled by the spines of wild roses and shrank straight in pain. Juo hurriedly flew over, gently lifted the tip of the thorn with its sharp beak, and then pecked out a soft dandelion fluff to wipe Kiwi's wound. Kuki, don't move around. It'll be fine soon. Kuki shook its paws and nudged the berries, saying, "Thank you, Juju. Your mouth is more dexterous than a small pair of tweezers. It doesn't hurt at all." In the morning, when the sun rose, little squirrel Tao found that there were too many nutshells in the tree hole, blocking the opening and making it smaller. Juju immediately flew over to help, pecking out the broken shells piece by piece with his sharp beak and arranging the whole nuts neatly. Tao held the nuts and smiled. "Sister Juo, your mouth is more effective than a little broom. The tree hole is much fresher." At noon, the buzzing wings of the little bee got stuck in the spider web, and it was so anxious that it was spinning around on the branch. Juo flew over carefully, gently pecking through the spider silk with its sharp beak. Its movement was as light as blowing a breath. "Buzz, don't panic. I'll save you." Buzzing with dry wings, it flew around pecking. "Thank you, pecking. Your mouth is even more powerful than a pair of scissors. I can gather honey again." In the afternoon, Duo, a little girl from the neighbor's house, came to the shrub to pick berries. She wanted to find the reddest and sweetest one, but she always couldn't reach the higher one. Juju read her mind, flew to the highest branch, and gently pecked off the ripe berries with his sharp beak, landing them precisely in the small baskets one by one. Duo held a handful of berries and said, "Juju, you are really my little helper. These berries are sweeter than candies." In the evening, a light rain began to fall from the sky. Juo remembered that the newly built bird's nest had not yet been laid soft. It quickly flew deep into the thicket, picked up fine dry grass and feathers with its sharp beak, and spread them layer by layer in the nest. It also pecked a large leaf at the edge of the nest as a rain shield. When the raindrops fell, Juo's little nest was warm and cozy, not wet at all. The setting sun dyed the thickets a warm pink. The friends gathered under the branches and held a small sharing session. Kuki brought the reddest berries, Tao presented plump nuts, and Duo brought sweet millet. Pecking at the millet, he sang a cheerful song, which filled the entire thicket. "Aunt," Cuckoo said, "the sharp beak of a cuckoo is capable, but a heart that is willing to help others is even more precious." When the moon rose, Peck was huddled in its warm little nest, with the fragrance of millet still lingering in its mouth. Because of the pecking of the pinkbill, this small thicket has become more lively and reassuring. Such days are more delicious than sweet berries and more blissful than pink feathers. The warm song of the forest, with pink birds chirping in the forest full of pink cherry blossoms. There is a soft pink bird flying, chirping. Shoo-shoo's feathers are like crushed cherry blossom petals, pink and shiny. Her round eyes are like two black agates. Her wings flap up like little pink fans. When she sings, her chirp-chirp sounds like silver bells. The sparrow mother always says, Shoo-shoo is the little singer of the forest. She is cute, and her heart is sweeter than cherry blossom honey. That early morning, little hedgehog Kuki was looking for wild fruits under the cherry blossom tree and accidentally fell into a small pit. She was so anxious that she made a woo sound. When Juju heard the crying, it quickly flew to the edge of the pit and sang loudly towards the woods. This was a distress signal from it and its friends. Soon the little squirrel Tauto came over and made a ladder with branches. Kuki finally climbed up and hunched over to Juju, saying, "Thank you, Juju. Your singing is more effective than a trumpet." In the morning, the sun made the cherry blossom petals slightly curled. Little bees got lost while buzzing to gather nectar and wandered around among the flowers. Shoo-shoo quickly flew to Weng Weng's side, singing the guiding song as he flew towards the beehive. Weng Weng, follow my voice. Buzzing followed the singing and soon found its way home, flying around Shoo-shoo. Thank you, Shoo-shoo. Your singing is clearer than a navigation light. At noon, the little girl Duwadwa from the neighbor's house came to the woods to pick cherry blossoms, wanting to make cherry blossom bookmarks, but she could never reach the petals at the top. Shoo-shoo saw through Duo's thoughts and flew to a high branch. With her sharp little beak, she gently pecked off clusters of cherry blossoms, allowing the petals to fall into Duo's hands like pink snowflakes. Duo held the petals and smiled. Juju, you are such a considerate little helper. The cherry blossoms are so beautiful. In the afternoon, the concert of Little Cricket Lely was about to start, but there were very few audience members. Shoo-shoo took the initiative to act as a promoter, flying round in the woods and singing a cheerful invitation song. When the little animals heard the beautiful singing, they all came along with the sound. Soon, the lawn was filled with spectators. Lely excitedly shouted to Shoo-shoo, "Thank you, Shoo-shoo. Your singing is more effective than posters." In the evening, dark clouds drifted from the sky. Choo-choo thought of the little bat Hey that lived in a tree hole. Its entrance was not blocked. Shoo-shoo quickly found a few large Polonia leaves, fixed them to the entrance of the cave with spider silk, and sang a soothing song to accompany her hey as she waited for the rain to stop. When the raindrops fell, the tree hole was extremely dry. Hey flapped his wings and said, "Thank you, Shoo-shoo. Your singing is more reassuring than a serenade." The setting sun dyed the woods a warm pink. The friends gathered under the cherry blossom tree and held a small sharing session. Cookie brought sweet wild fruits, Wang Wang offered fresh nectar, and Duodwo brought small cookies with a cherry blossom flavor. Shu stood on a branch and sang a happy song, which drifted very far away. The mother sparrow smiled and said, Shu's pink feathers are beautiful, but her helpful singing is even more touching. When the moon rose, Shu was curled up in the warm bird's nest, with cookie crumbs still sticking to the corners of his mouth. Because of the chirping of pink birds, this cherry blossom forest has become more lively and warmer. Such days are sweeter than cherry blossom honey and make people feel happier than pink feathers. The little heroes of the grass with tiny yellow ants in the grass after the rain. There crawled a golden little ant. Its name was Lily. Lily's body is as shiny as if coated with honey. Her antennae are as thin as silk threads. When she runs, her 6 little legs dada as fast as a small motor. She always likes to carry food that is twice her own size. The ant captain always says Lily is the little sun of the team. Although she is small in size, she has the best strength and heart. That early morning, the way the team was carrying breadcrumbs was blocked by a small puddle. The puddle was shining brightly, like a little Milky Way. The friends were all so anxious that they turned around in circles. Lily hurriedly ran to the dandelion, lifted a piece of fluff with her antennae, and then found a thin grass stem to rest on the puddle, shouting, "Come and walk on the fluff bridge." The ants walked steadily across the soft bridge. The team leader waved his antennae and said, "Lily, your method is even better than a small bamboo raft." In the morning, the sun was scorching hot on the stones. Little ladybugs got heat stroke and lay motionless on the leaves. Lily immediately gathered her companions, carried the grass leaves moistened with morning dew, covered Dion with them, and then lined up to send dewdrops to its mouth. Dion slowly opened her eyes, flapped her wings, and said, "Thank you, Lily. You are even more considerate than the little nurses. I feel much better now." At noon, the little Master Duadwa dropped her beloved glass bead in the grass and squatted on the ground crying. Lily smelled the floral fragrance on the beads and followed the scent into the crevices of the stones, gently pushing them with her antennae, but the beads were too heavy. It hurried back to its nest to call for help. A group of yellow ants worked together, pushing the pearl out as if carrying a small sedan chair. Duodwo saw the glass bead rolling to her feet and was pleasantly surprised to pick it up. She found that the ants were queuing up and retreating towards the grass. She quickly crushed some breadcrumbs and placed them on the ground, saying softly, "Thank you, little heroes." Lily led the way onto the breadcrumbs, and her antennae touched Duadwo's fingertips, as if greeting each other. In the evening, dark clouds gathered again. Lily recalled that there was nothing to keep the rain off the entrance of the newly built ant nest. It led its companions to bring in the dried leaves, glued them together with spider silk to form a rain shield, and also piled up small stones around when the raindrops fall. The ant nest is dry and refreshing. The little ants all praise that they have thought of everything carefully. The setting sun dyed the grass a warm yellow. The friends surrounded Lily, sharing the breadcrumbs that Duardwo had given them. Lily stood on the tallest blade of grass, with its antennae held high. It knew that even though it was very small, it could still do many things for everyone. The ant captain smiled and said, "The yellow bodies of the ants are eye-catching, and their brave and helpful hearts shine even brighter." When the moon rose, Lily lay on guard at the entrance of the ant nest, her tiny figure shining like a yellow gem in the moonlight. Because of the yellow ants, this patch of grass has become more lively and reassuring. Such days are sweeter than sweet breadcrumbs and happier than a golden body. The growth story of the soft vegetable leaves of the yellow caterpillar in the vegetable garden filled with cabbages. There crawled a golden caterpillar called Ruin Ruin. The soft body is like being coated with a layer of honey butter. Round and plump, with light yellow stripes on its body. When it gets up, its chubby belly arches up and down, leaving shiny little marks. The cabbage worm Diane always says, "Soft, soft is the little treasure of the vegetable garden." It looks cute and soft, and its heart is even more tender than the vegetable leaves. That early morning, little Aunt Guago's group was stopped by a small puddle on a vegetable leaf. The puddle was like a small mirror. The ants dared not step on it and turned around in a hurry. Ruanru quickly climbed over and used her chubby body to rest at both ends of the puddle, like building a small yellow arch bridge. "Guagu, come over on my back." The little ants crawled steadily in a line. Guago waved its antennae and said, "Thank you, Ruin Ruin. Your body is more stable than a small plank. What a life-saving bridge." In the morning, the sun was scorching hot on the vegetable leaves. Little ladybugs were hiding behind the leaves, panting, but accidentally slipped down. Ruan Ruin just crawled past and quickly covered it with her body, slowly wriggling to push Diandian back to the shade. "Diandian, it's cool here. Don't run around anymore." Dion flapped her wings and said, "Thank you, Ruit. Your body is softer than a small cushion. How considerate." At noon, the little Master Duadorbu came to the vegetable garden to pick vegetables. She saw Ruan Ruin trying hard to climb up the tall cabbage, her short legs kicking off very seriously. Duadwo squatted down and gently stroked its back, saying, "The little caterpillar is so cute. Let me pick a tender leaf for you." Soft lay on the fresh vegetable leaves, taking big bites, feeling sweet in her heart. In the afternoon, the little snail in the vegetable plot gradually lost its way home and curled up on the vegetable leaves, crying. Ruan Ruan remembered that the snail's home was beside a stone under the fence. She quickly led the way in front, climbed for a while, and then turned back to wait slowly. "Follow me. Your home is right ahead." Slowly following Ruin Ruin to its home, I waved my antennae at it to express my gratitude. In the evening, dark clouds drifted from the sky. Soft saw the little cricket lily under the vegetable leaves. Its little nest on the grass was almost blown away by the wind. Ruan quickly found some thin grass threads, pressed one end with her body to fix Lele's little nest, and lay down beside it to block the wind. Lele, now you don't have to worry any more. When the raindrops fell, Lele's nest was steady. She sang a song and said, "Thank you, Soft. You are such a reliable companion." The setting sun dyed the vegetable garden a warm yellow. The friends gathered around Ruan, sharing their food. Guaguo brought breadcrumbs, Diandian picked up dewdrops, and Duadwo placed the tenderest vegetable leaf. Soft lay among the vegetable leaves, eating until her stomach was round and her heart was warm. The cabbage worm Dion said, "The soft yellow body is lovely, but the helpful heart is even more precious." When the moon rose, Ruan found a wide vegetable leaf to use as a blanket and curled up into a small yellow ball to fall asleep. It dreamed that it had grown colorful wings and was flying above the vegetable garden. Because of the yellow caterpillar Ruan, this small vegetable garden has become warmer and more lively. Such days are more delicious than the tenderest vegetable leaves, and more delightful than the golden bodies. The warm and fun story of the little raccoon washing in the stream beside the clear stream lived a chubby little raccoon named Shishi. Zixie's fur is grayish-brown. There are black little eye patches around her eyes, making her look as if she were wearing sunglasses. Her paws are pink and tender, and she is very flexible. No matter what she gets, she always runs to the stream to wash it. The mother squirrel always says Zixie is a little cleanliness freak by the stream. She looks cute and is especially careful when helping. That early morning, little hedgehog Kuki picked up a shiny wild fruit in the grass, but it was covered in mud all over. She saw this and quickly pulled QQQ to the stream. He used his paws to hold the water and help it wash the wild fruits. He also wiped the mud off QQ's back. It tastes good only when it's clean. QQ bit the sweet wild fruit and said, "Thank you, Zixie. Your claws are more useful than a small brush. Wild fruits are so sweet." In the morning, the sun made the stones warm. A group of little ants, Guaguo, passed by carrying breadcrumbs. The breadcrumbs were covered with sand and felt uncomfortable. Shishi quickly squatted down, gently took the breadcrumbs with her paws, shook them. "It doesn't hurt your teeth now." Guagu waved her antennae and said, "Brother Shishi, your claws are even more ingenious than small sieves, so consider it." At noon, the little master Duaduo came to the stream to draw. Accidentally, she dropped her paintbrush into the water, and the bristles got tangled up. When Shishi saw this, she quickly jumped into the shallow water area, scooped up the paintbrush with her dexterous claws, and gently combed through the bristles in the stream, as if giving the paintbrush a bath. Duadwo took the clean paintbrush and said with a smile, Shishi, you are such a capable little helper. The paintbrush can be used again. In the afternoon, little fox Hong Hong caught a small fish, but she thought it had a fishy smell. She pulled Hong Hong to the stream, taught it to wash the little fish with clean water, and also helped it find fresh leaves to wipe its hands. Wash it, and the fishy smell will go away. Hong Hong was munching on the fragrant little fish and wagging her tail at Shi. Thank you, Shi. Your method works even better than spices. The little fish is so delicious. In the evening, dark clouds drifted from the sky. She thought of the little bat Hai, who lived in a tree hole. There were quite a few fallen leaves accumulated at its entrance. She hurried to the tree hole and swept the fallen leaves clean with her paws. She also ran to the stream, dipped her hands in clean water and wiped the dust off the hole until it shone brightly. When the raindrops fell, the black tree hole was spotlessly clean. It flapped its wings and said, "Thank you, Wash. You are even more meticulous than the little butler." The setting sun dyed the stream warm golden. The friends gathered by the stream and held a small sharing session. Kiyuki brought washed wild fruits, Guago brought sweet breadcrumbs, and Duoduo brought sweet honey cookies. She squatted by the stream, gently dipped the cookies in the water and ate them with great relish, her eyes narrowing into small crescent moons. The mother squirrel said she's cleanliness obsession is cute, but her warm-hearted and helpful heart is even more precious. When the moon rose, she lay on the stone by the stream, her paws still carrying the coolness of the water. Because of the little raccoon washing, this forest by the stream has become cleaner and warmer. Such days are more delicious than sweet wild fruits and more delightful than clean fur. A little growth task for the little giraffe Duoduo under the acacia tree on the African savanna stands. A little giraffe named Duoduo. Her fur was as if scattered with gold. Her neck was thin but always stretched upwards. Her round eyes were like black grapes. When she ran, her 4 long legs wobbled back and forth, just like a swaying little swing. Mum said Duoduo has grown up. Try helping Mum pick the tenderest leaf. Duoduo excitedly raised her head and suddenly shot up at the leaf. Ouch! Her neck hit a branch, causing her to frown slightly in pain. Mother gently licked her forehead and said, "Don't panic. Keep your legs steady and then apply more force." Duoduo nodded. This time she slowly stood firm, pushed off the ground with her hind legs, and stretched her neck steadily upwards. Just as she was about to reach the leaves, a gust of wind blew. She swayed and almost fell down. She quickly hooked her long tongue onto the branch to steady herself. Finally, she bit off a tender leaf still covered with dewdrops and happily ran to her mother's side. Mum chewed the leaves and smiled. My Duoduo is not only brave, but also has learned to use her brain. Under the setting sun, the shadows stretch out long. She knows that growing up is like growing leaves. Even if they are a bit clumsy, as long as they don't give up, they will surely succeed. In the evening breeze, her little neck straightened even more, like the proudest sapling on the grassland. The heartwarming underwater story of the orange-finned little fish Orange in the shallow coral sea. There swims a shiny little fish. Its name is Orange. Orange's body is like it's smeared with orange marmalade. Its orange-yellow scales are giving off a soft glow. Its dorsal and caudal fins have a faint orange-red color. When it swims, it looks like a moving little maple leaf. The mother fish always says, "Orange is the little sun at the bottom of the sea." It's eye-catching in appearance, but warm in heart. That early morning, little seahorse Dion got lost among the seaweed and wandered around but couldn't find her mother. Orange swam over and asked softly, Dion, why are you here alone?" Dion hung her little tail and said, "I can't find my mum." Orange smiled and said, "Don't be afraid. I'll take you to look for it." It let Dion follow behind it and swim slowly along the coral reef. Its orange body stands out particularly in the water. The mother seahorse quickly found them by the color and wagged its tail at Orange. "Thank you, Orange. You are such a reliable little guide." In the morning, the sun shone through the sea. Little conch Lele wanted to climb up to the high coral to bask in the sun, but the coral was too slippery. After climbing several times, she always slipped down. Orange saw this and swam over quickly, holding Lele steadily with her body. "Lele, I'll help you get up." It swam slowly and carried Lele to the top of the coral. Lele happily turned around and said, "Thank you, Orange. Your back is more stable than a small boat. The sunshine here is so warm." At noon, the seabed was a bit muggy. Little shrimp Meng couldn't find the cool water flow and lay on the sand looking listless. Orange remembered the cold water flowing behind the coral reef and quickly said, Meng, follow me." It led Meng through the seaweed and to the cold water stream, and also helped Meng push away the small stones blocking the way. Meng soaked in the cool water and immediately perked up. "Thank you, Orange. You are such a warm-hearted friend. Cold water is more comfortable than a cool spring." In the afternoon, the little hermit crab Bibi wanted to change to a larger shell, but the new one was too heavy to carry. Orange saw this and said with a smile, "Bibi, don't worry. I'll help you push it." It held the shell with its head and Bibi pulled from behind. Together, they delivered the beautiful new shell to Bibi's home. Bibi crawled into the new shell and waved her pincers at Cheng, saying, "Thank you, Cheng. Your strength is even greater than a small cart. I finally have a new home." In the evening, the setting sun dyed the seawater a warm orange. The underwater friends gathered around the coral reefs and held a small sharing session for Orange. The little seahorse brought fresh plankton, the little conch shared sweet seaweed juice, and the little hermit crab presented smooth pebbles. Orange swam in the middle. Its orange scales glowed gently in the setting sun. It said, "I'm the happiest to be able to help everyone." Motherfish smiled and said, "Orange's orange fins are eye-catching, but her helpful heart is even more precious. When the moon rises, its moonlight spills into the ocean floor. The orange scales, reflecting the moonlight, seem to have been sprinkled with a layer of silver powder. Because of the orange-finned little fish orange, this small coral sea has become warmer and more lively. Such days are more pleasant than sweet seaweed juice and more dazzling than orange scales." The little sun on the grassland, with sunflowers blooming one after another in the center of the field, stands a golden sunflower. Her name is Duardwo's flower head is like a round little sun. Its petals are dazzling bright yellow. Inside the flower head are densely packed small melon seeds. The stem is straight like a small pillar. No matter where the sun goes, her flower head always faces the sunlight steadily. The mother field mouse always says Duardwo is the little sun in the grassland, she chasing the light herself and can also bring warmth to everyone. In the early morning, the little bee buzzed and got lost, circling around the flower beds. Duardwo quickly shook the flower tray to make the petals reflect a brighter light. "Buzz, come towards me." A buzzing sound flew in the direction of the light and landed on the flower bed. Immediately, I smelled the sweet fragrance of nectar and happily picked it up. "Thank you, Duardwo, your flower plates are more effective than road signs, and your nectar is sweeter than honey." In the morning, the sun rose higher and higher. Little hedgehog Kuki ran home with wild fruits on her back, sweating profusely from the sun. Duardwo quickly tilted the big flower plate and set up a golden canopy for Kuki. "Kuki, come and rest your feet here." Kuki crawled under the flower stem. A cool shadow immediately enveloped him. He held the wild fruit and said, "Thank you, Duardwo. Your flower beds are even more comfortable than the shade of big trees. They carry a pleasant fragrance when the wind blows." At noon, little Aunt Guagu led her team to carry cookie crumbs. Halfway through, they were stopped by a small ditch. When Duardwo saw this, she let several broad leaves hang down and rest on both sides of the ditch, forming a green leaf bridge. "Guagu, come along the leaves." The little ants lined up and climbed steadily across the leaf bridge. Guagu waved her antennae and thanked her. "Sister Duardwo, your leaves are even more stable than small wooden boards. Thank you so much." In the afternoon, a few dark clouds drifted over the sky, and it seemed that it was going to rain. Duardwo thought of the little cricket lily living under the dandelion nearby. Its wings were most afraid of moisture. Duardwo quickly lowered the flower plate, and the petals tightly closed together like a little golden umbrella covering the dandelion. "Lily, come in quickly." But when the raindrops tick-tock fell, Lele was singing under the umbrella, not getting wet at all. "Thank you, Duardwo. Your flower tray is more useful than a small flower umbrella." In the evening, the setting sun dyed the fields orange red. The little girl, Yaya, from the neighbor's house came to pick flowers. As soon as she saw Duardwo, she laughed. "Wow, this sunflower is so beautiful, just like a little sun." Yaya didn't pick her. Instead, she found some small stones to circle around the roots and watered them, saying, "I want to protect you and let you keep chasing the sun and blooming." Duodwo shook the flower tray and pointed the fullest petals towards Yaya, as if saying thank you. When the moon rises, the flower discs still retain the warmth of the sun. Looking at her sleeping friend beside her, she felt warm in her heart. Because of the blooming sunflowers, this field has become brighter and warmer. Even the evening breeze is filled with the sweet scent of a mixture of sunlight and honey. A heartwarming story of a strong calf's farm on Grandpa's farm lived a little yellow ox, and everyone called him Juangguang. He had a coat of short golden fur, like a small blanket woven by sunlight. His 4 legs were as strong as small pillars, and he walked steadily. He also had a pair of tiny ox horns, which felt soft, not yet stiff. Zhuangguozhuang is strong but has a particularly gentle personality. All the little animals on the farm like to play with him. Even the newly hatched chicks dare to jump onto his back to bask in the sun. That early morning, Zhuangguang had just finished gnawing at the tender grass on the meadow when he heard the sound of panting. It was the old goat Grandpa from the farm. He was about to move the bamboo basket full of carrots to the warehouse, but the basket was too heavy and he was so tired that he kept wagging his tail after just a few steps. Zhuangguang hurried over, gently pressed his head against the bamboo basket and mooed at Grandpa Old Goat, as if saying, "Grandpa, I'll push it for you." He walked slowly with a bamboo basket on his head, his 4 legs firmly on the ground, not swaying at all. Grandpa Old Goat followed beside him, smiling and saying, "Zhuangguang is such a good child, more reliable than my little cart." In the morning, as the sun gradually rose, the chicks on the farm were playing the Find Bugs game in the yard. Suddenly, they noticed a hole in the roof of the chicken coop. If it rained, the eggs in the coop would surely get wet. The cookers were buzzing anxiously around the chicken coop, but they were too weak to move the dry grass needed to repair the roof at all. Zhuangguang heard the cry and rushed over. He picked up the hay bale on the ground with his mouth and slowly carried it to the chicken coop. He also helped the cookers spread the hay on the hole. The gurus pecked at the corn kernels on the ground at Zhuangguang and said, "Zhuangguang, this is for you to eat. Thank you for helping us repair the chicken coop." At noon, my neighbor's little brother Dodo came to the farm to play. He wanted to ride the little wooden horse, but the wooden horse on the farm broke down. Seeing Dodo's disappointed look, Zhuangguozhuang quickly walked up to her, slowly knelt down on her front legs, and let out a moo at Dodo. Grandpa smiled and said, "Dodo, Zhuangguozhuang asked you to ride on its back. It will walk very slowly." Dudu carefully climbed onto Zhuangguozhuang's back. Zhuangguozhuang slowly stood up and walked steadily around the grass. Dudu put her arm round Zhuangguozhuang's neck and laughed. Zhuangguozhuang's back is even more comfortable than a little wooden horse. In the afternoon, dark clouds suddenly drifted from the sky, and it seemed that it was about to rain. The wheat that Grandpa dried in the yard hasn't been brought back to the barn yet. If it gets wet by the rain, it will sprout. Zhuang hurriedly ran to the pile of rice, blocking the wind blowing towards it with his body. He also mooed at his grandpa's house, reminding him to come and harvest the wheat quickly. When Grandpa heard this, he quickly ran out with tools. Zhuang even helped to push the scattered wheat grains into the pile with his nose. Just as the wheat was harvested into the barn, raindrops began to fall with a drip-drip sound. Grandpa stroked Zhuang head and said, "Thanks to Zhuang, otherwise all this wheat would have been wasted." In the evening, the setting sun dyed the farm orange red. Zhuang was lying on the grass, surrounded by Grandpa Old Goat, the gurus, and Dut. Everyone was sharing the green grass cookies and carrot sticks given by Grandpa. Zhuang was chewing the sweet carrot, looking at the smiling faces of his friends, with his tail gently swaying, feeling warm in his heart. Suddenly he felt that his strength was not only for walking and eating grass, but also for helping Grandpa Old Goat carry things, helping the cuckoos repair the chicken coop, taking Dudu to play, and reminding Grandpa to harvest the wheat. It was much happier than eating grass alone on the grassland. It turns out that even a tiny calf can, with its own strength and gentleness, become a little guard on the farm, bringing safety and happiness to every friend. But when the moon rose, Zhuang was still walking slowly on the grass. His golden fur sparkled gently in the moonlight like a moving little piece of gold. The farm is quiet, with only the chirping of insects and the rustling of the wheat stalks in the wind. Thanks to Zhuang, this farm has become increasingly lively and warm. Such days are sweeter than tender grass and more reassuring than strong calves. Parrot Tsicai's happy diary on the balcony of the little girl Mengmen's home. There hangs a colorful birdcage in which lives a parrot. Everyone calls her Sai. Her feathers were like a pallet had been overturned. Her wings were bright emerald green. Her belly was soft lemon yellow, and there was a tuft of red feathers on her head, as if she were wearing a small hat. The most amazing thing is that Tsicai can imitate many sounds. She can say good morning like meng, and also imitate the ding-ling-ling sound of an alarm clock. Every day she makes the balcony lively and bustling. That early morning, Mengmeng had just finished feeding Xiaomi to Keikai when she heard a woo crying sound coming from downstairs. It was Dodo, the little brother of the neighbor. His mother had gone to buy vegetables, and Dodo was waiting for her at the door. He was so anxious that he burst into tears. But Keikai quickly chattered downstairs and imitated Mengmeng's mother's voice. "Dodo, don't worry, Mum will be back soon." Dudu heard a familiar voice, looked up and saw Tsicai on the balcony. Her tears immediately stopped and she waved at Tsicai saying, "Tsicai, I'll wait for Mum." Mengmen smiled and patted Keikai's head, saying, "Keikai is so smart. She even comforts Dodo." In the morning, the sun was slowly rising. Mengmen was doing her homework on the balcony. As she was writing, she frowned. She had forgotten how to pronounce the English word for apple and could unfind it in her textbook. Seeing Meng Meng's anxious look, Kai Kai suddenly began to imitate the English teacher's voice. Apple, 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 apple. Meng Meng immediately remembered and said happily, "Sai, tease, Sai, you are so amazing. Actually can speak English words." Sai proudly waved the red feathers on her head and repeated apple once again, which made Meng Meng burst into laughter. At noon, Meng Meng's good friend Lele came to her home to play. The two of them wanted to play the "You Say I Guess" game, but they were missing a question setter. Cai hurried over and imitated Meng Meng's mother's voice, saying, "Here comes the question. What is a flying, feathered little animal?" Lely smiled and replied, "It's a little bird. TCICI, be the question setter." Next, Cai imitated the barking of a puppy for the two of them to guess animals, and then imitated the sound of an alarm clock for them to guess objects. The balcony was filled with laughter. Lele said before leaving, "Cai is so interesting. I'll come and play with it again next time." In the afternoon, dark clouds suddenly drifted from the sky, and it seemed that it was about to rain. Meng Meng's mother dried the quilt on the balcony, but hasn't had time to collect it yet. Cai quickly made a ding-ling-ling sound into the room, imitating the sound of a doorbell, and shook her head in the direction of the quilt. Meng Meng's mother heard the sound and ran out to take a look. She quickly put the quilt into the room. Just as she finished putting it away, raindrops began to fall with a drip, drip sound. Mum touched Cai's cage and said, "Thanks to Sai, otherwise the quilt would have been soaked." Sai called out to her mother, "Mum is so great," which made her mother burst into laughter. In the evening, the setting sun dyed the balcony. Meng Meng was sitting on a small chair on the balcony, telling Kai about the interesting things at school. Kai would imitate Meng Meng's tone from time to time, saying and yes, as if she were listening attentively. Mum brought in some fruits. Meng Meng picked up a grape, peeled it, and fed it to Kai. Kai pecked at the grape, her eyes narrowing into little crescent moons. Meng Meng held the birdcage and whispered, "Kai with you around. The balcony is not boring at all." Sai waved her colorful wings, feeling warm in her heart. It suddenly felt that its ability to imitate sounds was really useful. It could comfort Dodo, help Meng Meng memorize words, play games with everyone, and remind Mum to tuck in the quilt. It was much more interesting than staying in the cage singing all the time. It turns out that even a tiny parrot can, with its own wit and unique skills, become a little joker on the balcony, bringing joy and help to everyone. When the moon rose, Cai stood quietly on the crossbar. Her colorful feathers sparkled gently in the moonlight like a small glowing ball. The balcony is quiet, with only the rustling sound of the evening breeze brushing past the curtains. Because of TSICAI, this small balcony has become increasingly lively and warm. Such days are sweeter and more fragrant than sweet millet, and more beautiful than colorful feathers. 以上翻译结果来自有道神经网络翻译 YNMT 通用场景。The pond, with its graceful lotus flowers, is a gentle memory. In the pond by the village, there grows a cluster of graceful lotus flowers, among which the most eye-catching one is Ting Ting. Her roots are rooted in the silt of the pond, yet her flower stem stretches straight upwards, with a tender pink lotus on top. The petals are layered upon each other, like little spoons decorated with pink. The center of the flower is golden and has a faint fragrance. When the wind blows, the petals sway gently, and even the little fish in the pond like to swim around her. Her leaves are round and large, like little green umbrellas spread out, floating on the water surface, capable of blocking the scorching sun and also shielding the continuous drizzle. That early morning, Ting Ting had just been moistened by the morning dew until its petals shone when it heard an anxious buzzing sound. It was the buzzing of a little bee. It was flying too fast while gathering nectar and accidentally got its wings wet by the dew, landing on the duckweed on the water surface. Its wings were covered with water droplets and it couldn't fly. Ting Ting quickly moved the largest leaf gently towards the duckweed and said to Weng Weng, "Weng Weng, climb up to my leaf quickly. I can help you dry your wings here." Buzzing slowly climbed onto the lotus leaf and lay in the middle of it. As soon as the sun hit it, the water droplets on its wings dried up very quickly. It shook its antennae at Ting Ting and said, "Thank you, Ting Ting. Your leaves are softer than cotton. It's so comfortable to dry your wings." In the morning, the sun was slowly rising. The little dragonflies by the pond had been flying on the water surface for a long time, trying to find a place to rest, but the duckweed around was too small to stand steadily. When Ting Ting saw this, she gently shook the flower stem and brought her petals closer together. Dion, come and rest on my petals for a while. My petals are big and steady." Dion flapped her transparent wings and gently landed on the graceful petals, also flapping her own wings towards the water surface. It wagged its tail at Ting Ting and said, "Thank you, Ting Ting. Your petals are more comfortable than lotus leaves. Standing here and enjoying the scenery is so beautiful." At noon, the little girl Lele from the neighbor's house came to the pond to draw. She wanted to draw the most beautiful lotus flower, but after looking at several, she thought none of them were special enough. It was not until he saw Ting Ting with its pink petals, golden center, and the big round leaves floating beside it that Lele immediately fell in love with it. She sat by the pond and began to draw in front of Ting Ting. From time to time, she would look up, fearing that she might draw the shape of the petals wrongly. After finishing the drawing, Lele held up the drawing paper and smiled at Ting Ting. "Ting Ting, look, the lotus I drew is as beautiful as yours." Ting Ting shook the petals as if saying, "Your drawing is really good." In the afternoon, dark clouds suddenly rose from the sky and it began to drizzle. The little snail that had just been playing in the pond was moving slowly. With no place to take shelter from the rain, its shell was covered with mud and water, and it was crawling more and more slowly. Ting Ting quickly lowered a lotus leaf and placed it slowly above, as if opening a small green umbrella. Slowly hiding under the lotus leaf, she slowly stretched out her antennae and waved them at Ting Ting. "Thank you, Ting Ting. Your leaves are just like little umbrellas. Not a drop of rain can get on me." After the rain stopped, a shiny dewdrop slowly left on the lotus leaf, as if a small pearl had been sent to Ting Ting. In the evening, the setting sun dyed the pond orange-red. Standing in the middle of the pond, Ting Ting watched her companions buzzing among the flowers to gather honey, dotting on the petals to rest, and Lele packing up her painting tools, slowly crawling under the lotus leaves. Her heart was filled with sweetness. Suddenly, she felt that she was not just an ordinary lotus. She could also help Weng Weng dry its wings, give Dion Dion a rest, be a model for Lele, and shield slowly from the rain. She was much happier than just blooming quietly all the time. It turns out that even a tiny lotus can, with its own beauty and tenderness, become a little angel in the pond, bringing peace and joy to every friend. When the moon rose, Ting Ting was still gently swaying its petals. The pink flowers under the moonlight looked like tiny stars, and a faint fragrance filled the entire pond. The pond is quiet, with only the rustling sound of the evening breeze brushing against the lotus leaves. Because of Ting, this small pond has become increasingly lively and gentle. Such days are more beautiful than the faint fragrance of flowers and sweeter than the pink petals. The Guardian story of Little Cabbage Chinking's vegetable garden in Grandma's vegetable garden. There is a tender little Chinese cabbage, which everyone calls Chinking. Its leaves are a bright and tender green, like jade washed by spring rain. Layer upon layer of leaves wraps around each other, and the edges are slightly wavy. When the wind blows, they sway gently, giving off a faint grassy fragrance. Even passing little butterflies like to rest on its leaves. That early morning, Chinking had just absorbed her fill of dewdrops when she suddenly heard a faint buzzing sound. It was the buzzing of a little bee. While gathering nectar, it had accidentally got its wings wet by the rain and landed on the soil of the vegetable garden, unable to fly no matter how hard it tried. Chinking quickly lowered the outermost large leaf gently, like opening a small green umbrella to block the cool morning breeze. It also allows the dewdrops on the leaves to slowly drip to the buzzing side, replenishing its moisture. After a while, its buzzing wings dried up. It shook its antennae at Chinking and picked some nectar from its leaves before happily flying away, as if saying, "Thank you, Chinking." In the morning, the sun was slowly rising. The little ants in the vegetable garden were busy moving their house, but a small pebble blocked their way. The ants were sweating profusely from pushing, but the pebble remained motionless. When Chinking saw this, she quietly moved the root close to the stone to the side and let a leaf gently press against the edge of the stone. Unexpectedly, the force of the leaf, combined with the push of the root, made the stone gradually move away a little, just enough for the ants to pass through smoothly. Captain Ant led everyone to place a sweet sugar grain on the green leaf as a token of gratitude. At noon, the little brother of the neighbor came to play in the vegetable garden. He accidentally fell down and his knee rubbed against the soil. It hurt so much that he almost cried. Grandma quickly helped the little brother to the small stall beside Chinking, picked the most tender leaf of Chinking, washed it with clean spring water, and gently wiped the dirt off the little brother's knee. The little brother touched the soft and green leaves, smelled a faint fragrance, and suddenly didn't feel the pain anymore. He even smiled at Chinking. The little cabbage is so cute. In the evening, Grandma came to the vegetable garden to water it. Seeing the sugar grains on Chinking's leaves and hearing from the little brother that Chinking had wiped his knees, she smiled and touched Chinking's leaves, saying, "Our Chinking is truly a little treasure in the vegetable garden." Chinking shook her leaves, watching the setting sun stretch her shadow long, feeling warm in her heart. Suddenly, it felt that although it was just a tiny cabbage, unable to run or fly, being able to shield the little bee from the wind and rain, help the little ant move stones, and comfort the little brother was the happiest thing. It turns out that an ordinary little cabbage can also become a little guardian in the vegetable garden with its own tenderness and kindness, bringing warmth to its friends around it. In the vegetable garden at night, the moonlight falls on the green leaves, and even the dewdrops sparkle with a bright light as if applauding for this lovely little cabbage.